And now, we go beyond. Yes, let's do it. Toys in the Attic is a stop-motion Jiri Barta film from 2009. And I love it. Unironically, I unabashedly love this movie. I love how creative, inventive, inspired, and charming the animation is. It's a strong contender for the most visually creative film I've ever seen. The clever, imaginative, rustic, contraption-esque art style creates a world absolutely brimming with character. However, while the animation is rich in character, the actual characters are severely lacking in development. And on top of that, the story and themes are an extremely surface-level good versus evil conflict. That's not to say this movie is completely bad. It functions serviceably, and it's coherent for the most part, but there is still much to be desired from this movie. It unfortunately doesn't reach its full potential. If you want to check it out, the link for it is in the description, as it is free on YouTube for your viewing convenience. Full spoilers ahead for this very odd, very clunky, but very enjoyable flick. First off, the story. Well, honestly, this is less of a story and more of a premise. A porcelain doll named Buttercup is whisked away by the denizens of the Land of Evil, where the villain, known as the Head, wishes to marry her. So Buttercup's friends, who consist of a stalwart soldier named Sir Handsome, a teddy bear aptly named Teddy, and the Play-Doh comic relief Laurent, embark on a journey across the attic to rescue their friend. An innocent setup with an innocent execution. And honestly, the movie doesn't go much deeper than that. There's not a lot of legitimate obstacles, not a lot of legitimate stakes, and not a lot of legitimate tension. There is a mild sense of urgency to save Buttercup that does drive the plot forward, but the movie plays it pretty safe for the most part, and it doesn't really throw any interesting twists or turns at you. Same goes for the characters. Like I said before, there is not much explored here. Each character has a gimmick, and a very thin personality attached to said gimmick. Sir Handsome is brave, courageous, and always speaks in rhyme.
What kind of spell has fate ignited to drive you to me so excited? I'm off to slay that dragon brute, my little princess, plump and cute.
Teddy is a doting friend, but very sleepy. Laurent is the zany goofball comic relief with a French accent. Buttercup is the proper and polite damsel in distress, and the Head is the overzealous villain, as are the entire Land of Evil. They're all just evil for the sake of evil. Now granted, the Head does have the most charisma out of all the characters, not to mention some really funny moments, but he himself is a very one-dimensional villain. The characters are not very fleshed out. And to be fair, that was also the case for the Pied Piper. But the thing is, that movie had an immaculate handle on its story, themes, world building, and symbolism. And as such, all of that made up for the thin character work. Here, the story and themes are just as underdeveloped as the characters, and as a result, the movie leaves much to be desired. Oh, and speaking of theme, that's also weak. It's a basic good versus evil theme. Good is good, and bad is bad. Fucking riveting. Now, I guess you could also make the argument that another theme is that community and friendship are also good, but that's way too deep for me, man. Way too far down the rabbit hole. Now, to be completely fair and charitable, Jiri Barta has said that this story is supposed to represent the divide of ideals in Czechia during the Cold War era. That's why you have the two factions in the attic. But again, I would argue it's not a very strong or nuanced representation of said era because of how thin the writing is. If that's what the filmmakers were going for, great, but it's not well executed. This is unfortunately a very barren script, and what's hilarious to me is that the film has the audacity to end with Buttercup proclaiming that she and all the characters are born anew.
All of us have birthdays today. We were all born anew. Happy birthday.
Salut.
Mazel tov. All the best. Happy birthday.
Born anew? Fucking how? All that happened was you were captured, subjugated to mundane labor, and then your friends rescued you. Don't gaslight me into thinking there was an actual arc. Nothing was learned. What is the moral of the story? What is there for me to meaningfully discuss or dissect? As you can see, the pillars of storytelling here are built with popsicle sticks and chewing gum. Now, I want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with simplicity, but that's not the problem here. The problem is the lack of narrative substance. Pied Piper was simple in its execution, but rich with substance. This film is also simple in its execution, but lacking in substance. But those aren't the only problems with the movie. There are also some weird, unexplained elements that just perplex me. First and foremost, Tomcat. At first he seems like a normal house cat, but we soon learn he's a henchman to the head, and he disguises himself to better fool the toys into playing right into the villain's hands. But why though? Motivation? Rationale? Purpose? Can I get some purpose? This cat is just a loyal henchman because... Like, why does he care to get involved with the politics of toys? I'd be able to accept this if we at least got a reason for this plot device. And we never get an answer, by the way. He's just a conniving little bastard for the sake of it. An agent of chaos, so to speak. Another odd occurrence in the plot are the Buttercup clones. Now, I think we can all infer as to why the head would want a harem of Buttercups, as creepy as that is. But, A, this guy just has a cloning machine? Just a casual cloning machine? Like, what the fuck? And B, this again goes nowhere substantial. It's just used for a visual gag, like, oh, I found Buttercup. No, I found Buttercup. Which is the real Buttercup? Guys, I found the real Buttercup. And that's the end of that little mini plot line. Very pointless, very dumb, very unnecessary. And finally, the watch. So, right at the end of the film, Teddy finds a present labeled to him. He opens it to find a pocket watch. But it turns out this pocket watch is a fucking black hole that sucks in the entirety of the land of evil, the Buttercup clones, and the remains of the head into the dark void. It almost claims Teddy's life too, but he's saved at the last minute. And again, I gotta ask, what is this? Why was the watch present labeled to Teddy? What's the significance of that? Why did the watch Jumanji the land of evil? What Deus Ex Machina bullshit is this fuckery? This movie is filled with nonsense like this, and sometimes it can actually add to the comedy and quirkiness of the toys, but other times it just brings up nothing but confusion and a whole lot of questions. A good example of an unexplained element in this film that actually kinda works is the Phantom, as Sir Handsome calls him. Up the steep the Phantom slopes, without hand and without ropes. He's not really a character so much as he is an extra, but his incidental presence adds to the intrigue and mystery of the world of the attic. While he's definitely a random oddity that doesn't contribute to the story, this is an instance where the ambiguity and vagueness actually work to the film's advantage, to create an air of mystery. Alright, I think I've thoroughly ribbed this movie well enough. Now it's time to move on to the positives. The animation. Goodness gracious, I love how resourceful they got with this animation. From Laurent's claymation to the main cast's puppetry, the 2D special effects overlays, crude crayon paper cutouts, bed sheets and doilies as flooding water, trash bags as tar, pillows as clouds, fluff as snow. This film's visuals are a magnificent dive into youthful imagination and wonder. It reminds me of how whimsical the world seemed as a kid, and the film keeps you on your toes by switching up the styles every so often. The music is also very enchanting. It has a mystical air to it that feels sentimental and nostalgic, which greatly contributes to the immaculate atmosphere and tone. It's got such a great bedtime storybook ambiance that feels so familiar and comforting. And there is some pretty effective comedy in this film, I must say. There's a great scene where Madame Curie is making an announcement to all the toys in the attic, and this speech is actually heard by one of the real-life humans from outside the house. And she's so dismissive of it, it cracks me up. There's also this classic gag with the chalk drawing train tracks. I know it's not the most unique joke, but it still got a chuckle out of me. And pretty much everything the head says is a stitch. Yeah, he's a creep and a one-dimensional character, but hey, at least he's funny. Oh, and I suppose I should mention the English dub, which is the version I saw. Some pretty heavy hitters here. Forrest Whitaker, Carrie Elways, Joan Cusack, and even though their characters are extremely one-note, their distinct voices and line delivery do add some extra personality to the dialogue. And overall, I do like the idea of the attic being a whole separate realm where magic and mysticism flourish. All the trinkets, big and small, cooperating in their own little society unbeknownst to us is a rather charming concept. And it's part of the reason why the original 3 Toy Story movies were so successful. But unlike Toy Story, Toys in the Attic doesn't have the same pull with its characters, the same quality of writing with its story and themes. I could have easily seen this film being an underrated animation, but unfortunately, it's not up to snuff. Because as far as the merits of the film go, that's pretty much that. I'm sorry, but that's all I got for you. And don't get me wrong, I still get a lot of enjoyment from this movie. It's kinda like The Painting. It excels in style and aura, but fumbles in writing, which is such a shame because I can't tell you how much I wanted this movie to be good. I truly do see a good movie somewhere in here, but alas, I must make peace with what we got. Toys in the Attic is an uncanny, creepy, poorly written, but ultimately harmless entity that I do believe is worth at least one viewing. It's got enough panache and visual stimulus to keep you engaged, it's a pleasant universe to get wrapped up in, and for all intents and purposes, it is a valiant creative effort, albeit a very clunky one. Despite the detrimental flaws that keep this movie down, I still have a lot of good faith towards it. It's a cozy little flick. And with that, it's time for me to initiate the heat death of the universe. It's been fun, guys, but you know how it is. Gotta kill all of you. It's just the way it goes. Thanks for watching. And always remember to do drugs in the bathroom.